crimes of passion probably had nothing to do with love, or lust, or sex. But they probably had plenty to do with someone being an idiot when someone else had a weapon in hand. Sweater Vest's clueless, dumb stare finally resolved itself into a look of bewildered insult.
I was just following through an assignment.
Guy grabbed Sweater Vest's shoulder and leaned in to talk to him nose to nose, not caring if a little spittle sprayed forth as he punctuated each word for emphasis.
There is no follow-through on murder!
Guy closed his eyes for a moment and shook his head in disbelief.
Once the hit is dead, you're through. Got it? Dead means done.
Well, for you, sure.
Sweater Vest rolled his eyes. He rolled his friggin' eyes at Guy.
But for a writer to assess the effectiveness of his work, he has to see how the public reacts. He has to gauge how whether they found the world he created not only credible, but compelling. In this instance, I wanted to see if the sister looked more frightened than sad, and whether the target's family looked at the sister with accusation in their eyes, whether members of the community were less wholehearted in their expressions of sorrow, whether the police...
Guy actually felt his blood pressure skyrocket from its already elevated level.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, the police were there? What if they asked you why you were there?
Sweater Vest made a face and scratched his cheek while he thought for a second, but Guy didn't have patience for the wordsmith to work through his transitory writer's block.
Holy mother of God, tell me they weren't taking pictures of the mourners. Tell me they weren't taking out a license plates number of the cars at the cemetery. Tell me you didn't do something so stupid that it's going to get you questioned or caught.
Sweater Vest wrinkled his brow, as if he were replaying the funeral scene in his head.
I don't remember seeing anyone with a camera.
Guy clenched and unclenched his fists.
See, anyone with a phone, because that's all you need these days, is a phone and leisurely turn, take a panoramic shot of everyone everywhere. They can blow up the picture later and get all the details they need.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I don't recall anyone doing anything like that. I mean, nothing obvious.
What if they figure out who you are and that you have no connection whatsoever to the deceased? What if they come to your door and want answers?
Well,
Sweater Vest temporized.
I guess I just tell them.
Guy interrupted.
And don't say you just tell them you read about the murder in the paper and wanted to express your condolences. Nobody crashes graveside funerals. They crash weddings and wakes because they're all free boozes. Besides, I may not know you all that well, but even I can tell that you're not the kind of guy who goes to a funeral and gives sympathy to random strangers. If this was a Lifetime movie, you'd get cast as a creepy dude who spends so much time watching Kids in the Park.
Guy could see Sweater Vest's blood pressure rising too. The fellow's face was flushing red and his jaw was clenched tight for a few moments before he responded.
There's no need to be insulting. I have a perfectly good reason to give anyone should they ask me why I was at the funeral. It's the same reason I can give for being anywhere, anytime, watching anything from bums urinating on the subway platform to young women walking by in thin summer dresses. I'm a writer. My job is to observe things, notice them, experience them, memorize them, and then keep them in my mind's eye for later use. Everything, everywhere is grist for my mill, and I grind my flour into a soft, smooth, silky silt. Characters, settings, emotions, storylines, places, things, clothing, arcane bits of description and poetry. A writer has an excuse for knowing everything from nuclear weapon yields to whether college girls typically wear thongs to avoid panty lines in their tight jeans when they're attending a kegger at the local frat. I can go anywhere on the excuse of gathering atmosphere. I can ask questions about a building security system or untraceable poisons or what knots are best used for S&M bondage sessions without blinking, because I can always say it's research for a book. I don't even have to produce the book it was for, because I can always say I haven't written it yet.
Jesus, the kid was really wound tight.
I'm a writer! I have the perfect excuse for anything. If I say something stupid or offensive or racist, I don't have to apologize, because I can say I said it's a gauge reaction to make a scene or a bit of dialogue more realistic. If I want to take a needlepoint class, I can say it's for a project I'm working on. I don't have to be embarrassed. And if I want to loiter around a shop that sells sex toys, or ask the local biker gang about their preferences in automatic weapons, or purchase a battle axe, I can say it's for a book. Heck, I can even deduct it from my taxes. Look, people may not like writers. They may not respect them or pay them well, but they understand that writers are strange people who do strange things all the time. They tolerate them like a kid with Down syndrome. They may not want to be around them, and they may thank God they don't have one of them in the family, but they understand they can't help what they are. And if you don't make eye contact or aggravate them too much, they'll wander off and be weird somewhere else.
Sweatervest paused for a moment before continuing, his voice calm.
Listen, you don't need to worry about my end. I don't worry about yours. We're both professionals here. Just keep in mind that should someone stumble across our friendship, I have a perfectly credible reason for talking to you. What's your reason for talking to me?
Well, that was fun. Where's the author? They're around somewhere. Oh, there you are. I'm sorry, Don. I walked past about 17 times. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Was it what you expected?
Pretty much.
It was? Good Lord. It was so much fun doing this, it really was, because when I first read this, when I got to the end, it was like, oh, that's fun. No, it was really good. What do you think? Do you think this works better on the page or in life? What do you think? What do you think, Don?
Well, you know, if anybody wants to buy the film rights.
Tomorrow. No, okay. Has anybody got anything to say about the piece? Because that's what the talk back time is about. Oh, there's a gentleman here.
Yes.
He might not be a gentleman, but he's going to speak anyway.
And with the risk of insulting you or
Me?
whatever that is, I thought that the narration worked in the book, but when you put it up here, I kind of expected the actors to do much of the stuff that you narrate.
Right, that's a really good point, because that was one of the artistic choices I made in putting these on. All right? What I actually thought when I was putting these together was I did not want to change any of the words in the piece. So I had a choice here, and you'll see as we go through the evening how the choices were made. If it's written so that you can have a cast do a show, then that's what I did. If it's written so that you can have some people doing that, but somebody interjecting a few words because you need to know some things that isn't in the script being the words that are said, then I've selected to have a narrator or something like that. If it's written just as a poem, it is read as a poem. So I was trying to, my object was to give you, the audience, the best possible scenario of acting out whatever words you gave to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I hope we did that. Close as we could. The only things that I did actually get rid of from the script was any sort of stage directions, because that's often what people sort of think they should do, because stage directions just get in the way of putting it out. And different places, so you know, right, learning time. A script that's written very often has no stage directions whatsoever when it goes to first play. And the stage directions arrive after the first time it's done. Because the first acting company says, what do we do with this then? and they put it on. And you'll find exit stage right, and well, in fact, as some people were saying, they said stage right and stage left, and it's very good. And some people said, leaves. So those all get put in later, usually. But that's okay, and your works were really great. We enjoyed doing them. Okay, anybody got anything else to say? Okay, we should go on with the next one. I'm having so much fun. Yes, I've got to do something, I'm not sure what. I think I have to move something. Oh, I'm in darkness. Okay, good. I'll get the next card.
I'd opted out of being a cop. I had good friends who were cops, a couple who had been in the military with me. Talking to them helped me understand that, like the military, there were certain levels accessible to anyone who put in the effort. But after that, politics came in. Being lectured about not writing enough overnight parking tickets didn't enforce a real sense of purpose in me. And being a woman, there was always an extra layer of bullshit to deal with, minority or otherwise. Given the work I'd done in the military, I wasn't up for the suck it up and play the game. From there, I'd gone on to working as a paralegal while I was working on my law degree. Mom had liked the idea of my representing the underclass. Like most every other private detective I knew, I sort of fell into the profession. The agency the law firm used was looking for some part-time help, and I decided to try it for a little bit. That was as much planning as had gone into getting me to the office on this crisp, sunny March day. Looking back at the statement, not surprising, Tremaine, like the other four co-defendants, painted a picture of a meeting that had taken place at Derek Johnson's garage early on the Sunday morning of the shooting. The phone rang, so I decided to wait before reading any more. Sam, Rachel called. Cheech on 5-7. Okay, I shouted back, a little louder than necessary, hoping to remind Rachel that we had an intercom system on the phones for a reason. Cheech, I said, put my coffee down on the desk. Talk to me. So what, you don't even say hello or nothing? Damn, Cheech, I answered, feeling my voice drift toward a more street-side cadence and tone. Sometimes when my voice took on a personality without conscious forethought, it bothered me. This voice was part of me, it's part of where I grew up, and it made talking to Cheech easier. Why you gotta be talking to me all woo and shit like that right away? You've been hanging around with them gangsters too much, Cheech replied. Can't even speak English no mo. Must think you're one of them or something. Cute, Cheech, very cute, I replied, a little surprised. Not surprised that Cheech was capable of the cleverness, but by how quickly he put it together. Cheech was not one of the heroin or crack people. He'd smoked quite a few blunts, though, and generally speaking, it was the smoke, not the coke, that created the slower-moving minds. Good morning, Mr. Gonzalez. How are you? How was your weekend? Did you enjoy any recreational activities with your fellow social club members? I'm all right, funny lady, Cheech replied. Was a weird weekend, though. Seems like I can only get half of what you're looking for. Why don't we get a cup of coffee or something? You picking me up? By the Butera, about 15 minutes. All right, but I gotta be work at 10:30. That's the thing about men, Cheech. You're always having some place to go, no time to focus on the moment. Sometimes I wonder you don't be flipping me, pretty lady. See you in 15. I put the file back where it had been, knowing I'd have to come right back to it after speaking with Cheech. Hopefully I'd hear something worth talking to Anderson about. Especially with this kind of investigation, doing the job correctly meant keeping him constantly updated. He was one of the people who made me believe that being in the service could be a real reflection of character and real-world education. Unlike a lot of other white men I'd met as attorney clients, he didn't convey any sense of judgment or prejudice toward a predominantly African-American or Hispanic clientele. I knew racism was learned at home, but depending on where you went out in the world, sometimes your vision could be improved. Back in a half hour, I told Rachel, quick stepping to the door. I walked across Chicago Street, which is not at all busy this time of day in the dead of winter. My office was in the Elgin Tower building. The building, which had been through the Great Depression, was one of the only Art Deco buildings in Elgin. One of my attorney clients had told me when a space opened up a few years ago, and I grabbed it. I like the history as well as the location. not too far from the cop shop, and just down the street from the public house. I walked to the city garage. Working in Elgin, I preferred parking somewhere away from the office. Tactically, it made more sense to me. I definitely know if someone was shadowing me on the way to the office. It's fun to think about the movie sets where the private detective owns the old industrial building, so they can set up all kinds of perimeter alarms and video, then race out of the building, their car pulling out of the freight elevator in the back. Even Shaft and Christy Love couldn't get the reality straight. I pulled into the parking lot for the Butera, turning the volume down as John Legend began to sing about. I spotted Cheech sitting inside the Dunkin' Donuts, 2 cups on the table in front of him. Most of my snitches did buy me coffee, but Cheech was really more like someone from the era of a street name than a real gangster. Hope you know this coffee doesn't get you in a date anytime soon, I joked, sitting down across from him. You are pretty hot, detective lady, but you know I ain't up for all that work. Appreciate the honesty. So what's up? People don't want to talk? You got it. It's like, you know, I was the only asking them to keep it real, but they all afraid of 5-0 or Washington's brother. Barry been around lately? He was over to Jimmy D's and Marky's place the other day. They didn't tell me, but I was with Chris. She told me. Well, I thought Chris was Trick Dude's woman. Dog in lockup. Ain't like she gonna wait till he get out to party. Just can't trust them white girls, I said. Can't trust no coke whores, Cheech replied. But if you're partying, they're fun to have around, you know, be all, okay, Cheech, I said too much information. Let's move past that. What do you got for me? Well, it's 3 dudes. 2 just got out of lockup, 1's still in, Pontiac. I can tell you the some side of the story. You know them, the 2 out of Jefferson and Williams, Little Ray Ray down in Pontiac. Jefferson and Williams ready to make statements about the China White stuff, but we'll neither talk straight about what happened to the cash. You helped Ray Ray back on that case in Chicago. You probably helped you the most. Cheech, be straight with me. What is with Derek sticking to this story of Dewey taking skim from the action? Pretty lady, I'm always straight with you. Let me make this simple. I know Derek most of my life. Like he's a brother to me. Look out for me. I wouldn't doubt his story, but I can't speak personally to it. It was not the answer I wanted to hear from Cheech. I left Derek's story of one of the assistant state's attorneys slanting this case against him as a possibility. Not necessarily that it could ever be proven. If Cheech had simply said he didn't know anything about it, I could have let the whole idea go, but Cheech made it very clear that his ability to talk about it was restricted by some consequences. Barry Washington was high in the Chicago ranks, and Cheech was a realist. He might love Derek like a brother, but if Barry was willing to threat to anyone who talked, Cheech was only going to go so far with me. All right, well, let's hope one of them can be of some help, I said, not sure who it would be. Anderson, the state's attorney who had been appointed in the case and in turn had me appointed as investigator for Derek, wanted to be able to show that the theft of the cash had not gone back to Derek. Therefore, there was no incentive for him to be involved in the murder. But we had to be able to show where it did go. The state could easily muscle anybody with a warrant or pending case into saying they overheard someone say one of the guys took the money to Derek. The phone rang just then, and caller ID showed me it was Anderson. All right, well, after I talk to these fine citizens, we'll settle up. Damn, girl, you don't trust me, madam? Cheech, I replied and stood up. It ain't that I don't trust you. It's just that I don't trust nobody. Gotta go, find you in a week or so. I'll be here. That comment was sort of a running gag between Cheech and I. Cheech, as well as a number of people he ran with, were constantly living at homes of friends or family. No fixed address was the unofficial classification. It wasn't that warrants were chasing him. I'd always told Cheech if he ever had a warrant I knew about, I'd find him a lawyer, but I wouldn't hide him fast. Cheech knew enough to stay clean most of the time. The reality, whether people wanted to accept it or not, was that the only crimes Cheech usually committed were the same as the average upper middle class college, hell, even high school kids. He smoked a little weed, maybe sold a little sometimes, then listened to his music too loud. Of course, he was hanging with the wrong crowd, but then he'd grown up with most of them. And no matter how clean Cheech might get, it wasn't like the Lowrys, Bush, Cheney crowd was suddenly going to be welcoming him after completing rehab. I drove quickly back to the office and hurried in as I heard the phone ringing. "It's Anderson, Sam," Rachel said, looking at the caller ID.
sir, you better come on in. Come in. That's it. Come on in. All of you lovely people standing outside watching the wings. There are two over there, aren't there? There are two over there together. You don't have to be together. He said he didn't want to be, but I did. Right. Okay. Well, fun. Yes, Ed. Where are you, Ed? Sorry? Oh, there you are, Ed. Oh. Yeah, how are you? Did you have fun? Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Good. It was good. Any comments? No narrators this time, so yeah. It was literally just written as is. Yes, sir.
Why'd you do it solo? Why didn't you have actors, like an actor for Cheech and an actor for Rachel?
Because, good question. Again, another choice. I wanted to keep the integrity of the piece, okay? So if I'd have had actors, my way of thinking was the amount of speech that the actors would be doing would be so small, it would actually get in the way of the flow of the piece. Does that make sense? There are certain things which are better read, are better literally read, and this one seemed to me to be that. Nothing more than that. But there was acting in what she was doing. All right, and you'll find this happens a lot with what we do throughout the whole weekend. It's unfortunately it's the choices I have made. Don't blame anybody else but me. So you won't come and beat me up afterwards, okay? I quite enjoy it. But ask my wife, she's sitting up there now. Okay, so that's how we're trying to do this, and each individual piece has its own way. And the next piece, in particular, is actually written the way it's being presented, I think. All right, so we shall see how that comes out in the wash. Something so you do need to know. Two of our actors, their car, they live together, and their car has died, and they live in Chicago. So two of our actors are not here, which means that we are filling in for each other. This never happens in theatre. But you don't know, I'm sure, who those people are, do you? Because we'll do a good job. But just be aware that that's the case at the moment. So names that are coming up, you'll find people up here that say, no, I don't remember seeing that name on that person who was, so just understand that. Thank you, let's get on with murder.
Never seen this before, and I suspect no one will ever see this sort of funeral again. Not here on the Missouri floodways or anyplace else. Now, a murder-suicide and both coffins at the same church, same service, same time. And outside, groups of both hokies and fats, friends and family members, gather in murmurous knots, smoking and talking about the killing. Some have returned to the churchyard from inside the church from the Clarktonian Cafe. A half-pint bottle of 4 whiskeys passes among some of them as cutting comments ring out. A hatchet-faced man snarls, "Fats was shot down like a dog by that son of a bitch Hokie. What did Fats ever do to him to deserve this?" And another guy says, "He must have did something." And another says, "Fats never did nothing against no one. He was a good man." And then there's someone from the back saying, "Why? Hokie knew that Fats was trying to move in on him and take Hokie's girl away from him. That's what he was all about." Another philosopher is more to the point. Hokie was just on a cheap wine drunk, and that's all there was to it. Now there's more and more talk like this, and now they're moving into the church. compartments and pews on either side of the aisle, according to relation and opinion on the two caskets centered up front of the aisle. Now, if hell has a chance of breaking loose in a church in the Bible Belt, it'll happen right here. Oh, shh. Brother Wood's about to start.
This is going to be difficult. Let's just get through it as soon as possible. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and I am the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, shall yet they live, and whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, first and last. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and I hold the keys of hell and death. Because I live, you shall also. We are gathered here today in heartbreaking grief to remember Harry, lovingly known to friends and family alike as Fats, whose life was cut short in the most hideous manner. He was a good man, good son, and a stepson. And he departed this life on December 7th, 1957, 23 years, 11 months, and 7 days following his birth. Cut down in the prime of his life by someone he considered a friend. A friend driven to madness by drink. He worked hard at various jobs, requiring muscle and stamina. And no matter his